this is Diesel. Today we're going to start videos and adult Tegu videos, but not a lot about what to expect that first month. So that's what we're going to get into. So today is day 4. I did do an unboxing video on day 1. Showed a little bit about him, showed him getting into the enclosure, but then I wanted to take a couple days before I tried to talk about anything, just so I could kind of wrap my head around everything that was going on. Much different of a animal inside the enclosure than outside of the enclosure. I'm sure some of y'all have noticed that too. I've noticed some comments here and there about that. He is super docile, inquisitive, confident outside of the enclosure. You put him inside of the enclosure and he thinks that you are trying to eat him 110% and you are the enemy and you are going to die. Not quite that bad, but the first 36 hours from the first day, the night time to the next morning, I got bit 3 times. Didn't really hurt. It wasn't a bite that was trying to hurt you. It was more of a bite that was like, hey, I'm scared, leave me alone. Since then, he has calmed down a lot more. You've noticed a lot more, okay, I realize you're not trying to kill me, you're giving me food. And so we're going to go over a little bit of what I did for that. So what I have been doing is on day 2, so after the unboxing, the next day, I couldn't find him. I came out here, I looked all around the tank, I moved everything, I literally pulled everything out of here and I couldn't find him. Started digging into the soil, still couldn't find him. Still couldn't find him, still couldn't find him. Finally, I just sat back and I was just like, I know there's no way he can get out of this, right? Did he find a way to get out of this thing? How did he get out? And then about 2 minutes later, a little head just poof, pops up out of the soil, full of dirt, had everything, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you're down in there. He was about 8 inches down into the soil. So he gets up, I'm like, yay, I want to kind of grab you and play with you. I've got everything out of here. This should be easy. Not at all. He ran, he climbed every branch, everything that you can see in this possible thing. He was up on trying to get away. Tail whipping, everything. Bit me twice. He did not want to come out. But persistency and taking steps back, going slow, not fast hand movements, taking a step back, give him a little bit of a breather, then go back in slow again. And after a little bit, I was able to get him up to the front of the tank, put my arm out, and force him from the back end to come up my arm. And that's 100%. That's what I want to do. And eventually I'll be using food to get him to train to come up my arm and stuff. But as of right now, that's not working. So that was day 2, getting him out of the tank. The rest of the day, I got him out for just a little bit, let him crawl around me, let him crawl around my chair, all around me and stuff like that. When I noticed him start slowing down and he started feeling like he was getting cold, he had been licking me, you know, he was doing what we want him to do, right? Starting the socialization of it. Once he was kind of done with that, then I put him back on his heat rock and I put my hand next to him and I just left it there. I kept my eyes kind of out of his direct eyesight, you know, I wasn't staring him in the eyes. I just sat there for about 5 minutes, and after that he licked my hand one time and then he went back and did his thing. I closed it up, I put my video camera up here so we could record what he was doing, I could watch it inside, and I kind of left him alone until that evening. That evening, I tried to get him out again. After socializing, get him spending all that time, I figured, well, he'll be no, he went right back to the beginning of, he's going to kill me, he's going to eat me, I've got to defend myself. And after, you know, about 10 minutes really of doing that, I kind of sat back again, I kind of let him relax, let him kind of get in a little spot where he could see me, he saw me looking at him, but I wasn't trying to get him right off the bat. And with that, you know, he kind of settled down for a little bit. Then I went back in, was able to get him back up to the front of the tank, and he walked out. Spent about another 10 minutes, took him inside, let him socialize with the family just for a little bit to the bedroom, and then brought him back out, put him back up here, fed him, gave him some shrimp. He ate right off of these big tongs that I have, and then about 20 minutes later he decided he wanted to come back and sit up on here and then relax. What did I do with that? I just left the tank open and I just sat here for about 2 hours in his space. He kind of roamed around, did his stuff for a little bit, and then after a while he got back into his corner and his hide back here. He was still looking at me, but he was falling asleep. And then finally he came out on top of his hide and looked at me, kind of hung his head down over the hide, and then just went to sleep for a little bit, which I felt was very positive. He came out into the open and felt comfortable enough to go to sleep with me still sitting here. At that particular time, I closed his cage up, and about 10 minutes of laying there, I guess, and getting some UV, some extra heat before he went to bed, he went in and he went and started digging in a spot underneath this hide back here. And I've already gone and removed the hide, just kind of dug down probably like 3-4 inches down in there, see if I could feel him, and he's not down there, so he's down deep in there. I did see him digging last night, so let's see if we can get him out. I'm going to try a couple different options before I try and feed food. My first option is what I'm trying to train with. We have to be persistent. If one thing's not working, but that's what we really want to work, and we know that will work, it might just take that persistency of continuously doing it, even though it's not working right off of the bat. But I want him to associate the sound of these tongs hitting this rock as it being food time. I want him to know that, hey, I want you to get up, come on, it's time to get up, you know. Eventually I will have to do it different when this is only when there's going to be food that am I going to do this. The rest of the time I'm opening the tank, there's not going to be the food initiation of, hey, get up, it's going to be time to eat. So I've got that. I've got his meat mix here. If you haven't seen this video, go watch it. It's a couple videos back. It's pretty neat. It doesn't have everything, but it's got a lot in it. He's eating it. He's kind of tending more to the insects and the whole shrimp and stuff like that right now, but he does go for it. And I did mix in some high quality grain-free dog food and some crock diet and some insectivore diet from Missouri. It has a little bit of everything, so I really believe from everything that I've heard and researched that the variety and the best thing that you can do is variety. There's a bunch of different videos out there about what we feed our Tegus, so the most thing I can say out of watching all the different videos is just variety. Don't stick to one different thing, switch it up and give them different variety. Just like you and me, we like to eat different food, so do they. So let's zoom this camera out a little bit and we'll get to seeing if we can get old Diesel up here. Hey buddy, come on, it is morning time. So I'm going to remove his hide because I know he's down there. He's definitely down in the hide. He's just down in there. If you haven't watched the video about how I made all this stuff, I do have a video about how I made all of this rock stuff out of foam. Super neat. This stuff's solid rock, right? Heavy. This stuff, super light, easy to move around, especially if it's something you're going to have to move in a lot, like your hide if you're getting in here. Another thing I put in here is I cut up an old pair of shirt that I was wearing for a couple days to put my scent in there with him, and I have noticed him digging with this, digging it around. He's been underneath it one time. I don't know if it's working, but I'm trying it. And like I said, at the end of the day yesterday was much better, much better. So he's not going to come out to the food mix, so I'm going to take this and get it out of the way. I do have a superworm with some calcium and vitamin powder here, in case that will work. But we burrow that he has gotten down in there, and he is not ready to get up. I have to remember too that he's only 3 weeks old, going on 4 weeks, and he probably needs a lot more sleep than I realize that he does. Patience is a virtue, right? And so I will be waiting, and we'll get back to you. So you don't have to wait. We'll wait for him to get up, and then we'll try some of this food and socializing a little bit later. All right. See you later, guys. All right, everybody. So I went back inside for a little bit, came back outside, and he was on his basking spot up here. I came down, I sat out here, I was eating a sandwich for just a minute. He hung out with me, and then he climbed around a little bit, and then he is right there inside of the hole. So I'm going to get some of his food. I'm going to open up the door. That's the scariest portion for him. I'm going to open up the door and see if I can get this little guy. You can't see him. Right there to come out. Hey, Diesel. Hey, Diesel. It's okay. It's gonna be loud. It's okay. It's okay. So he started to move a little bit, but then he stayed right there. That's kind of his little safe spot too. He knows it's hard for me to get him while he's in there. So he hasn't had a superworm yet. I don't know if he'll eat it. I don't know. And he's walking to the back. Let's see if I can get this back a little bit now. See him? He's heading back into his hide. He just woke up. He's not sure about me, but he's not running. Day 1, 2, 3, he was running, tail whipping as soon as I came inside. Now he's just back in his spot back there in his hide. He's in the corner. He didn't dig down. He's still looking. He just wants to know what's going on. He might not want the superworm. If he doesn't want that, I'm going to try a piece of shrimp in just a second. Here he comes. He's testing the water. Oh, he wants it. Oh, he wants it. Trying to make him work for it a little bit. Really trust me. We're going to put it down. Oh, that's a superworm. It's going to dig in quick, buddy. You want it, get it. There you go, guys. If you can see, he took it, which is a good start. So now I'm going to see if I can raise this up a little bit. Now I'm going to try and get him out with a little bit of his shrimp and go for there. So he knows that I'm feeding him now, so I'm going to revert back to the... Hey, buddy. Grab some of this meat mix up the top. I know he loves this stuff. Yeah, he's coming out for that. Come on, buddy. It's okay. Come on. Come on. Oh, oh. Come on, it's okay. Oh, oh, he got it. He got it. This is what we're dealing with. And it's just part of it. It's not going to happen overnight where you're going to have that loving puppy dog Tegu. It'll happen and it'll work. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And well, I'm not rushing it too much. you know, I am pushing just a little bit of the envelope. I don't want him to get too comfortable, and I don't want him to get set in his ways. I want to keep kind of bridging that boundary, pushing him just a little bit so that it's breaking his comfort zone, but letting him learn a little bit at the same time too. So he got some food. So he went to kind of hide it for. He's up on his little branch there. Yes, he uses every inch of this so far. He definitely likes the shrimp a little bit more than the insects right now. Drop that whole piece in the dirt. It's just going into the trash. Well, I know they can deal with a lot of dirt and stuff. He's just a baby. 3 weeks old. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh. And he didn't. He decided he was going to just turn around and get out of the area for right now. So, positive interactions. Now I could reach in there and grab him right now, and I just don't think that's the best idea. He's definitely on the skittish side. I'm reading kind of his body language. He's hungry, but he's still really curious about me. He doesn't know what to think. And so these little interactions, me giving him food, I'm not going to try and get him out of the tank yet. I'm just going to let him relax a little bit. And probably next time you see us, I'm going to pull most of the stuff out of the tank. I'm going to get him out. And the only reason I'm doing that, I can get him with the stuff in there, but I don't want him to hurt his tail. I don't want him to tail whip himself and break a portion of that tail. And I want him to be just fine. Plus, it's just, it is easier if I move most of the stuff out and then try and get him out. So, we'll see you hear that just a little bit. Okay, so it's only been a couple minutes, and you can see I'm sitting here, and he has came back up to the tank. He is laying down. He's relaxed. He just ate, so I could immediately just go and open the tank and try and put my hand up next to him, try and pet him, trying to get him, but I want him to relax just a little bit. I want him to understand I've just fed you. Now you're getting into your favorite, comfortable, nice, hot spot. And you can sit here and you can relax. And you can digest that food, and I'm not going to mess with you. It sounds just super simple, right? But take it down. I guess I've got a 3-year-old daughter, and I just happened to think about how to do things with her when she was a super small baby. She couldn't communicate with me. So I had to read on body language and try and figure out what the best thing was to do to counteract negative body language. And as you could see, just from me talking, he picked his head up and he's like, okay, nothing's happening. I'm gonna put my head back down. I'm okay. So here in a couple minutes, I'll come back and we'll open up the tank and just try and be close to him and maybe even try and pet him. Okay, so here we go, everyone. He has been up. He's been actually walking out of walking around the enclosure a little bit. Keeps coming back. He actually came, and I was looking for him. I saw his tail out over here, and I opened the cage, and I was like, "No, you're not going back to sleep yet. I still got video to do." And he stuck his head out, and I just pet his head. He didn't do anything. He just let me pet his head. Then he kind of came out and sniffed around, and then went and did his walking around, went and kind of laid in a couple different spots. So I figured now is probably a pretty good time. I'm going to open the door again. I'm just going to stick my hand next to him and see where it goes from there. Alright. He's still seeing what's going on. So I'm just going to set my hand right here real quick. And to me, guys, this is progress. He is not running. I just made noise. I was in front of the tank. I was opening it. I was above his head. I'm sitting here, I'm talking. He's got a camera in his face. Let's see if we can zoom in on him a little bit more. And he's ready to dart. He's got his hands underneath him. But there he goes. There's some tongue clicks. Hey, buddy. It's okay. And flatten him back out. And move just a little bit closer. See how he moves his head and his body. His breathing gets a little bit more. I'd stop. I'm just gonna go slow. And then I'm going, you can't see my face, but I'm not looking at him right in the eyes. I'll glare over at him every once in a while and stuff, but I'm not gonna stare him right in the eyes. I don't want him to think that I'm a threat. I want him to sit there and see my hand, realize that it's not gonna hurt him. He's just fine. He knows that he can dart back there and he'll be just fine. Or he can stay in his... Now the reason I want to move away is because for me to... That was not the right... I wasn't in the good position. I was in good enough position to keep my hand there and just be there for him. But as far as me wanting to touch him, have a little bit more control, I'm going to use my other hand. I'm going to get a little bit more situated for it and stuff, and I'm going to go a little bit slower. He's looking at me, he seems content. I'm going to come in the same kind of angle, slow. He's huffing and puffing. Okay, I touched him. Now I moved away. Now he could have easily ran away like he's probably going to do, or he's going to stay inquisitive. It's okay, buddy. It's okay, Diesel. Yeah, there you go. It's okay. And so that's okay. And so I'm just gonna let him get comfortable for a second. He's got, as you can see, he's got plenty of places to run and hide and get away from me so that he feels comfortable. And we'll come back. Okay, so I actually went in for a little bit and let him get relaxed again. And then I'm gonna get him out. I'm gonna film me getting him out. And the struggle it may or may not be. And then I'm just gonna let him walk around my chair for just a minute. Let him get comfortable with what's going on. And let him get comfortable outside of the cage of his enclosure, and then I'm going to put him right back into his spot. And then later on this evening, before he goes to bed, which he goes to bed super early, probably around 5 or 6 o'clock, he'll dig himself in. And then I'm going to take him into the bathroom and let him really kind of get out of the cage and walk around for a little bit. So here we go. Wish me luck. It's okay, Diesel. Definitely does not like the sound of this door opening. As you can see, he ran back off. But he didn't directly go into his cage. I'm going to let him relax for just a second and see if he'll come back. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on. Okay, so he is digging himself in underneath the water dish back there. I don't know if he is planning on coming back out the other side, but at this particular time, I'm actually going to get him out. I don't want him to think that every time he can run away. I want him to know that I can get him out of here if I want to, but sometimes doesn't mean that I have to get him out every time that I come in the enclosure. So I see him back here. I'm going to move his water dish. Check it. It's still nice and clean, so I'm not worried about changing that out right now. But he's definitely underneath his rock over here. Hey buddy, come on. Come on. It's okay. As you can see, just a little tail whipping. So come on. Well, let's me touch him. Come on. He's gonna go right underneath his rock here. Oh. Come on. Just slow movements. I see his tail. He's used to me touching his tail, so I touch his tail. Come here, buddy. Come on. Come on. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm giving him just the option to climb on my head. Easy, 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 easy. So I'm going to step back a little bit instead of trying grabbing him. Now he's got his head out, and I'm just petting him on the head. And he seems to like this, you know, as much as a new reptile will. He tolerates it, I should say that. So now that he knows that I'm going to just pet him and I'm not going to hurt him, he's not really running from me. He feels me trying to pick him up a little bit more. He's not tail whipping. He's just slowly trying to get away. One thing you don't want to do is if they start going through your hand, don't launch down on their tail. He's arching his back. I'm just petting him right now. He's wiggling his tail a little bit. He's a little scared. It's okay. And there we go. Oh, got a little bit of a, but here we go. So he's out now. No running. Just, okay, I'm gonna get away from you. Where can I go? Can I go down your back? Can I get back in the cage? This is what you need. He understands that. He's just gonna crawl at me. Of course I can't get it. But he just realized he can jump back off of my shoulders and back into the cage. That was pretty good. Pretty good jump there, buddy. And so, round 1 to Diesel. We were going to try that again. Persistency, right? Come on, buddy. It's okay. It's okay. Get him back up to the front of the cage. Come on. Come on. Put my hand down here. This is what I want. I want him to end up coming out to my hand. It's okay. It's okay. And then once again, got him out. He's going to try and do the same routine he did last time, but this time I'm going to put him on my chair. Okay, so this is him. I'm just on my chair right now, trying to get away from me. I wouldn't say he's really exploring as much as he's just like in somewhat panic mode, like, but he's not thrashing. He's not, oh my gosh, this is a horrible thing in the world. He's tongue flicking. I put my hand out, he's just gonna kind of move away. He's not gonna run. But I'm gonna end this right here for now. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna let him crawl all over me for a little bit. Know that he can use me to get in different places, but yep, I'm gonna tend to my lizard that's fixing to jump off. Alright, and we'll be back in just a little bit.